Welcome back to Hilaal Live. Now, the first Balwin Sports sponsored marathon kicks off on February the 11th next year with the two-lapper Jeppe Marathon, followed by the Cape Peninsula Marathon a week later. The Phobians Pretoria Marathon will happen on the 25th of February, and finally the Dolphin Coast Marathon on the 17th of March 2024. Joining us now to discuss the marathon series is the National Sales Manager of Balwin Properties, Ryan Kalk. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us and good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Now, it's an absolute pleasure. So, Ryan, let's talk about the origins of having a marathon series, because generally you'd have just one marathon happening in one city. But here we have an actual series of marathons. Talk us through that.
100%. So thank you. Yeah. Earlier this year, Balwin Properties sponsored the Dolphin Coast Marathon with the legendary Barry Holland down in KZN. And after running the race, we had actually just started a division called Balwin Sports, which I'm now running and managing for the company. And the whole purpose of Balwin Sports is for us to be able to get our residents in our developments and our staff a lot more active. So I participated in the marathon, and it was a massive eye-opener for me, and as an opportunity for Balwin to be able to get our brand across and to get people active and running. So I had a few discussions with Barry, and we came up with a whole series of races that we wanted to get involved in, where we've got marathons in the cities where Balwin is active, and we have developments that we are selling. So we decided to play with the idea, and it's just gained massive traction and legs, and we're having good fun putting it all together.
Okay, so Ryan, you mentioned that it's for residents and employees. If I stand to be corrected, please do correct me. Is it just for them, or is it open to the public?
No, it's open to the general public. So Balwin Sports, Balwin Sports itself is actually, we want to get our residents and our staff active, and by doing so, we've also found the opportunity to get the rest of South Africa active. So these are not new marathons that we are sponsoring. All of these marathons have got a rich history. They are all run by fantastically managed clubs. They're really good races. They're well-known races. They're races that have been around for a very long time. If I'm not mistaken, the Cape Peninsula Marathon is actually the second oldest marathon in the country. So all these races have they were hand-picked.
Ryan, I want to ask whether they're ultra marathons or they're half marathons, because we know obviously certain runners can only manage a certain amount of kilometers. So is it one specific race, or does it have both the ultra or the half?
So the marathons themselves, it's called a marathon series, but the nice thing about these races is that they actually cater for anyone from a 5 kilometer, there's a 10 kilometer, there's a 21 kilometer half marathon, and the 42.2 kilometer full marathon as well. So we really are giving an opportunity for everyone that just really wants to get active. And even if you want to you're not a runner, get off the couch, start training now for a 5 kilometer. And we have sponsored these races for the next 10 years. So there's an opportunity for anyone who isn't a runner that wants to get active and wants to start moving, start training now. Take the first step and get off your couch. And then hopefully in the next 10 years, you'll be doing marathons.
Ryan, one of the interesting things is, obviously post-pandemic, we've seen so many races return. I mean, it's a good feel-good factor, isn't it, that the marathons that used to be there, of course, stopped for 3 years due to COVID-19, have returned. And of course, now the Balwin Marathon Series, adds to the growing list of marathons across the country.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Jeppe, it's a very well-known marathon. I've run it a number of times. And it's really like not having that marathon on the calendar has been like, where's it gone? So to bring that marathon back, the club itself, the club members, and just the general public that are used to running the Jeppe Marathon know about the marathon and know that it's back on the calendar. So it's very exciting to have these races and to support local clubs.
Ryan, if anybody wants to be part of the marathon series, are we still, 5 months away, or 4 months away actually, from it starting? Besides the training that they would need to do, how can they register to be part of it?
So we've partnered with Peak Timing. All the races are going to be available on Peak Timing as well as on web tickets. The entries for the races are, I mean, you say it's 4 months away, but there's massive planning that goes into all of these races by the clubs. So all the entries will be opening from the early in October. The final date, they're just finalising all the entry forms, but it will be live on their websites. We will also have a Balwin Sport Marathon Series website live in the coming weeks as well, where we'll be able to we'll have all the information for the races, but also over and above the races themselves, there's a fantastic opportunity for anyone who participates in these races, not only as an athlete, but also anyone who marshals for their club. Because if your club's hosting a race, you can't run that race, and these races rely on volunteers. So we want to reward the volunteers the opportunity to also be part of the grand prize, which is fully furnished Balwin Properties apartment at one of our developments. That's going to be handed over at in September next year.
One final question, Ryan. I see the cities, of course, or the provinces, Western Cape, Gauteng, both Pretoria and Johannesburg, and KwaZulu-Natal. Any plans to expand in the other 5 provinces across our country?
Not currently, no. Right now, we're focusing on the areas where we have developments so that our residents can participate in that as well. We want to encourage our residents to join these open to the public races. And yeah, hopefully we've got more developments in the future in other regions that we can expand this to. We are looking at trail running as well. We're not only focused on road running, we've been very involved in the cycling space, both mountain biking and road cycling as well. We're also involved in the paddle space. We sponsored a couple of tournaments recently. And we really just love the fact that we can get residents, our staff, as well as the general public involved in sport and becoming healthy.
Ryan, thank you so much for joining us here on Hilaal Live. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
That's Ryan Kalk. He is Balwin Properties National Sales Manager. That series starting in February and stretching right up until March next year. After the break, we end Hilaal Live and we'll be having the news. But before that, of course, it will be Isha Salah from Makatul Mukarramah. To stay tuned to Hilaal TV.